Okay. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Marriage Effect podcast, where we discuss black love, marriage and relationships. I'm here to help you guys find peace, love and harmony in your marriage. I'm your host Nancy, and today we have the pleasure of having Zora Johnson. She is the founder of Soul to Soul Connexions. She is a matchmaker for black couples, and I'm so delighted to have you here. Hi Zora, how are you?
Hi, I'm well, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me along. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having on. Thank you for being here. I'm just so excited because I really want to get an insight for my viewers of what people look for, what people what people do look for, and that doesn't really pay off, and the things that people should look for that's important when it comes to finding their partner. So let's get straight into it. So firstly, what made you focus on black couples specifically?
Well, I was married for 10 years and I married out of my race. So I think it was a conscious decision at the time, but unconsciously I had been obviously always wanted to be partnered up with a man from my own culture, but it just didn't happen, and I ended up marrying. I know it's a poor excuse, but I did marry out of my race, and I've got two beautiful young men who are now 35 and 32. So it wasn't all bad back then. But, you know, over a period of time, I've tried numbers of ways of meeting men from my own race. And the turning point came when I went to an introduction service set up for black people, but it was being run by Asians. And when I asked them how many people they had on their books, they said they had 2 men and that was it. And they showed me the details, and I didn't think it would be a fit. But as I was driving home, I was thinking, how is it that we always are going to people outside our race to do things for us when they don't know anything about us? And I was looking for someone who had a service that I've developed and thinking, there must be someone out there who has got a similar service for people of colour who are doing great things. And I straight away on the way home, I started to draft a business plan, what it would look like. And my children, who are very vociferous, let's say, basically said, Mum, you're wasting your time, don't do it. So I put it to bed about 6 or 7 years ago. And so I had the foundation, and then I was poorly last year with COVID. And I decided, if God spares my life, I'm going to pick this thing up again and I'm going to run with it. And that is really the long and short of it.
Oh, amazing. So you really wanted a for us, by us approach. And I understand when you say, you know, black people, we tend to get our services and products from people who don't really know what we want, but because it's there and it's available and it's kind of in our face, we tend to go for it. So I'm really glad you actually had that experience yourself, because then that way you would really tailor it, because obviously you would essentially know what black men and women need. And obviously when it comes to the service, you'll really be able to tailor it for black men and women, which is amazing. So in terms of your demographics, what are the age ranges of your clients?
Right. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the fundamental basis of our service is about love. That is the core, you know, pivotal point from which I start everything. So if I'm doing it from a loving place, if I'm doing it for a loving experience, and if I'm doing it altruistically because of what I believe our community needs in terms of the love and support, because we've been battered for donkey's years. So when it came to the age range, I originally in my mind thought, well, it's going to be for the 35 pluses, and someone says, but the under 35s are having a difficult time too. And I'm thinking, but why? You shouldn't have the problems. I'm going to be 60 this year.
Oh, wow.
And I know a significant proportion of women and men who are similar to me won't be seen in nightclubs, won't be seen in drinks bars. The days of clubbing are almost gone. People don't have house parties no more. So it's like, well, where do you go to meet someone? It's kind of like really closing down. So after a bit of persuasion, I sort of listened to this story, and it seems as if the under 35s are having a bit of a hard time. So I lowered it to 30, and I've increased it from the other end up to 99, because in my view, and I've seen a couple of couples on WhatsApp on these YouTubes who are getting married in their 90s.
Yeah.
So, I just say don't give up.
Yeah, no, totally. You can't give up on love if you want it, guys. Like, don't give up. You've heard it from Zora Johnson. You cannot give up on love if you want it. No matter if you're 99, 98, you can go and get it.
101, you never give up on that wonderful feeling of love.
Exactly. And the thing is, everybody deserves love, so why not have it no matter what age you are, right?
Exactly. We all deserve it. We can't get by without it.
Exactly. We're not supposed to be alone. As human beings, we need love. We need people who love us. We need to love people. So, that's amazing. And do you match couples only in the UK, or you're an international service?
Well, at the moment, it's only UK based.
Okay.
Having said that, I say it's UK based, but it's very London centric.
Oh, okay.
And I've been on a few, been interviewed by a number of black reporters from the BBC, from other areas such as Birmingham, Manchester, Bristol, 3 counties, because there are small pockets of black communities.
Yeah.
A few thousands, not a great deal. But really, London has been the cohort or the melting pot for the focus of many of my activities to date. The plan will be to roll it out nationally, and then if that is a success, to bring it to America and Africa.
Amazing. I can't wait for that development. I really can't wait. So what are the most looked for qualities from men and women?
That men want from women and vice versa?
Yes.
All right, well, that's a tricky one. Because I do believe, depending on your previous or past experience of either gender, sometimes affects what it is that you're looking for going forward.
Okay.
And I certainly know that when I take people through the value-based assessment, some of the top things that always comes up are things like being a man that's truthful, honest, is not a player, basically, and all those sort of qualities that sort of are surrounded by the sort of the 10 commandments. Some men have often even said to me they want a woman with Christian type principles. So when I ask, well, what does that mean? What does that look like? What they're basically saying is they want an honest, again, truthful, hard-working women. Now, quite often when I take them through the assessment, nobody mentions the word love. They're not looking for a loving partner. So they give me all of these qualities, and I say to them, well, you come here to me because you're hoping that I can connect you with someone in a loving relationship, but you don't even put love on your list of qualities,
which is weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really so weird. It's like, oh yeah, of course I'm looking for love. I'm thinking, well, do you want a man that is aggressive and angry all the time? Are you looking for a loving, caring, loving person?
Yeah.
They said, of course I'm looking for a loving, caring person. So I said, well, I can't make any assumptions. You need to let me know, because there's plenty of men who just don't give love, don't know how to.
Yeah, absolutely. And what your clients looked for from when you first started your business to this present day, or has it kind of stayed the same?
I would say it's probably still very much the same. But the thing is, our people have got to take action. You know, the thing is, you can't go to your 9-to-5 job and go and sit in your home every evening without coming out and expect to meet the man of your dreams.
Yeah.
It's just not happening.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, God has certain powers, but he sure as hell ain't that smart. He can't bring the man to your door.
Unfortunately.
Exactly. So, you know, people have got to get out of their comfort zones, and I always believe when the student is ready, the master will show you the way.
Absolutely.
All right? But you have to be open and ready to receive. So you have to be, our clients and our people need to be ready and be receptive to having that experience. If they're not doing anything in order to enable that, they're not going to experience it. And that is the long and short of it. They can wish their lives away, because it seems like yesterday I was in my 20s. Now I'm sort of knocking on 60's door. Don't ask me where those years have gone. But they will fly. They will fly. And so if anyone is out there in their late 30s thinking, oh, I want to have a house, and I want to have a car, and I want to have a husband, and I want to have all these kids, you know, the long and short of it, I've spoken to many a 60-odd-year-old and 50-odd-year-old who hasn't got the man of their dreams, and they've missed out on having children.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing. That's the sad reality. Yeah, it definitely is. And that's what I tell my single friends, like, you have to put action. I love the fact that you said we have to put action, because literally you can't get what you don't work for. And Zora, the follow-up question I have, because I feel like a lot of people say, oh, I've done so many things, you know, I've done this, I've done that, I've gone on, you know, all these dating sites and stuff. If someone was an introvert, for example, someone that doesn't necessarily tend to go out, or, you know, doesn't like going out of their comfort zone, what advice would you give that person?
See, the thing is, when you are ready to meet your partner, whether or not you're a man or a woman, you have to bring something to the table, right? You have actually got to look at yourself, do some self-reflection, and ask yourself, what qualities do I have that my partner would value? So if you are, I'm going to use a rude expression there, but I've just managed to remember where I'm at. If you are someone who doesn't have a personality, who does nothing in their spare time, who has no history, you are likely to be a dull partner for your partner. Because he's got to see some qualities in you that's going to attract you to him. So if he's a traveller and you don't like travelling, you've only ever been to Brighton, you know, the last time you went to the West Indies was like 1930 something, you know, and you don't like going to major cities or do anything, you've got to have something in common, or have a common form of interest that your partner can hook onto, right? And so if you don't do anything with your life, if you don't have any interests, how are you going to be of interest to somebody else who's got certain interests?
That's very true.
So, you know, when men say to me they want a God-fearing woman, and a woman says to me, I want a God-fearing man, basically what they're wanting is someone who has an interest in religion. It doesn't have to be organised, but, you know, the foundation, the basis for their life and the way that they live is around Christian-like principles. And if they like to worship, they sometimes like to worship in a group. And if that person hasn't been, you know, has no feelings about religion, it's not going to work.
Absolutely.
Especially if some people create their lives around it.
Absolutely. And have you found that many people that have maybe, let's say, that one special thing in common, have you found that that's what's kept them together maybe?
Well, it's been early days, and I have to say, I'll tell you a quick story. I have a gentleman who came to me, and we went through our 2-hour registration process. And so I thought at the end of it, I've got some idea of the sort of woman that he's looking for. Then I introduced him based on the information, his findings. I had some ladies on my books, and he said, I showed him the picture. In fact, what I did, I used to ring him and say, look, I have a lady here, and these are the nice qualities that I believe would match yours. And he'd say, oh, send me her details. So I'd send him the details, and then he'd say, she's not my type. So, but I said to him, but I've just described this lady to you, and you were very keen on meeting her. Now you've seen a picture, you're saying she's not your type.
Oh, gosh.
So this went on for quite a number. I introduced about 8 or 9 ladies and showed the pictures, right? He said every single one of them wasn't his type. So I thought to myself, well, some Black and African Caribbean gentlemen are very much into colorism. So I thought, oh, maybe she's too dark. I'll introduce him to maybe sort of light-skinned ladies, and then some of them are into this hair business. So, ladies who had short hair, they're not keen. They like those with more European type of hair who are got mixed heritage. So I gave him a whole range. I introduced a whole range of different types of ladies. Every single one of them wasn't good enough.
Wow.
So I said to him, I think I'm going to have to take you through the assessment process again, because I must have got something wrong. Now, he came to one of my live events, and I seated him beside a lady who he had said he wasn't attracted to. And by the end of the evening, they've enjoyed each other's company so much that they're now seeing each other.
Oh, that's a really good story. That's a really good story. I mean, for some people, I feel like they need to probably meet, that specific other in person. Do you feel like that's what the case was with that gentleman?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But he wasn't convinced. And I said to him, I have a feeling you are the kind of gentleman who needs to see the woman so that you get the physical attraction and the pull as well. And I said, just seeing someone on paper is not doing it for you.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, let me just set up a little experiment and see what he says. I'm going to put him beside this lady that he had rejected. And he said, you were very naughty.
Yeah, that's a smart move.
I knew.
Yeah.
I knew it was because you needed to see this woman.
That's a smart move.
The ladies that you'd rejected, they were all there that night. But the one particularly that there was a match, she was the one who wanted to see him again as well.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a lovely story, because we always love it when, you have those successful matches, don't we?
Yeah, I was chuffed a bit.
Oh, that's really good. So which gender, and I know this question, people might already feel like they know the answer, but maybe you'll surprise us with the answer. Which gender has a higher or more unrealistic expectations, have you found?
Guess what I'm going to say.
Is it the obvious guess, or is it the one that...
What do you think the obvious guess is?
Probably men.
Really? No, not at all.
Oh, really? Okay.
My experience has been women.
Okay.
Because women are very vocal and they're very expressive.
Okay,
Men tend to look at women from a shape or body shape point of view, because some of them are into certain aspects of body parts, and they like some gentlemen say, I won't go out with a woman unless she's size 24, and I'm like, whoa, size 24, that is not healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
I like women with curves, and it's like, well, I'm not sure if I can do everything for you. Whereas a woman will go, well, he's got to have a good job, he's got to have all of these sort of materialistic things, and very particular about shoes and the colour of shoes, this sort of thing. Men don't go in for that. They just they like what they like in women. So do you think men tend to say, oh, I want things mainly based off looks, and women tend to go ask for things based off of, the whole finance thing, so job, materialistic, the car he drives, I want him to look like this or like that? I think they both do, but to differing degrees, in all fairness. Okay, that's understandable. One thing I was going to mention was, have you ever felt like people's expectations are not realistic? So, for example, something, my husband Joe's always said is, when you're finding a partner, it's not build a husband or it's not build a wife. You can't be like, oh, I want this thing here, and down here I want to, it's not build a spouse shop. So do you feel like some people have some unrealistic expectations as well? Yeah, they can at times. I would say in the main, the group of clients that we've got are quite settled. They've sort of reached the financial stage in their life where they're not worrying about money. So